It's so time. It's 24 hours since I saw episodes 17 and 18 of Twin Peaks, and yes, I'm still drinking. It hasn't been continuously. It's a story that stays in your head. It's still humming there, like the electricity wires in the show. And one of the things I think those last few scenes ask you to do, force you to do, is question the effectiveness of Dale Cooper. He's not an avatar of an idea, he's a man. And I think one of the things we've seen in Mr. C is the potential for badness in him, which is in all of us. One of the things that Frost and Lynch are so obsessed with and talk continually about is the thin divide between good and bad. And certainly Mr. C is his shadow self. With all of Dale's memories, Dale has the potential to be that. And it's to his credit that he chooses to be the good man that he is. And we're left, the last time we see Dale, Laura is whispering something to him. Something completely shocking. And just before that, we see Dale lost. The assuredness that had returned, that we were cheering so voraciously, is completely gone. He's lost. He's wrong-footed. He doesn't know what to do next. He doesn't know where he is. He was wrong. One of the things season 3 has made us do is long for the return of Dale Cooper by having Dale stuck in the guise of Dougie Jones. Dougie has been an incredibly divisive figure, and there are people in their thousands who have stopped watching simply because they became so utterly frustrated with the show. And Dougie sort of became the poster boy for that. But all of these thoughts started to coalesce when I started, one, to question the efficacy of Dale Cooper, and two, with the explanation of Judy as a being of extreme negative energy. Let me try and explain my thoughts. Dale Cooper is a lawman. He's an FBI special agent. The Blue Rose Task Force is an FBI task force. They are law enforcement officers. By their very nature, they are reactive. A crime needs to occur before they can investigate. So the evil, the negative energy, the negative force has already had its wicked way with the world. One of the things Dale seems to want to do, and by the way, because of that, because of their very reactive nature, it's not just the efficacy of Dale Cooper that you're questioning throughout this entire run, but the entire Blue Rose task force. I remember in episode 17 when Gordon said, Dale told me if he disappeared like the others, I should do everything I could to find him because he was attempting to kill two birds with one stone. What does Gordon Cole's everything he can do to find Dale actually consist of, apart from sitting on his ass for 25 years? If it wasn't for the intervention of Garland Briggs with all the information he's allowed and been able to bring to bear, the Blue Rose Task Force would literally be files, cabinets full of files of weird, unsolved cases. It would be the X-Files. Because of this reactive nature, Cooper can bring justice, but he can't heal those wounds. He can't counteract that negative force, the negative energy. And to a large extent, because of that, he fails and continues to fail. I'm going to be very hard on Dale here. He fails to prevent Maddie's death. Despite the Giant's warnings, he fails to prevent Annie being abducted by Wyndham Earle at the Miss Twin Peaks event and taken to the Black Lodge. He fails to do anything meaningful about his shadow self running loose in the world for 2.5 decades, spreading fear and misery. he seems at the end of season 3 to be about to make good on all of that when he seeds himself back through time to do something positive, to prevent the evil, to prevent the negativity and save Laura Palmer, to stop Judy rather than react against her. And it all goes horrendously wrong. Does he really do much to bring about the resolutions in episode 17? Freddie Sykes, as nonsense as his character is, defeats Bob. Bad Coop is killed by Lucy. He just happens to turn up in time to put the alcove ring on Mr. C so that he's out of the picture now, back into the Red Room. And after that, he goes on his hubristic journey to try and unwrite the past. And it fails. On the other hand, Dougie Jones, or Cooper as Dougie Jones, the real Dougie Jones, was a bit of a wastrel, a bit of a scoundrel, a cheating scumbag, selfish son of a bitch, let's be honest, a bad husband and a bad father. But Dale as Dougie was a generator for positive energy and an actual effective counter to Judy, albeit on a very human scale rather than a cosmic scale. Completely appreciating that he was passive in this entire process, and very much like the Peter Sellers movie Being There, he was as a person a sort of negative space that allowed people to fill it with whatever they saw. It's just that they happened to fill it with the best of them, the best possible outcome, the best possible reading of Dougie. Where there was despondency, he created a genuinely happy family, a happy ending for Janie E, Sonny Jim and Dougie Jones. He started spreading the love at the Silver Mustang Casino. That was the episode I became most frustrated with the Dougie Jones story, and it was after that episode that I decided to make my absolute peace with Dougie Jones and just roll with it. I don't know if the character was ever named. I'm going to call her Mrs. Jackpots, but I never expected to see her again. But the scene when he's having a meal with the Mitchum brothers and she's able to say thank you to him for the change he's affected in her life was one of the most touching scenes in the entire run. Everyone around him, their lives were improved. The Mitchum brothers went from handing out beatings and scowling to being these happy-go-lucky, fantastic characters that we all want to go on their fricking jet and eat their sandwiches. I think it's fair to say that Bushnell Mullins, Battling Bud, has been reinvigorated over the last few days by this intervention of Dougie, these files, and then having something to go to bat for again, something to fight for. He gets the smell in his nostrils of a good fight to be had, and he's reinvigorated once again. Even Anthony Sinclair, Tom Sizemore's character, has a Damascene moment of redemption and issues all of his previous vices and crimes and begs for forgiveness, a complete and utter turnaround in the space of what all of this happened, a handful of days, weeks at most. Dougie Jones has affected more positive change in the world, and there's no reason to believe it won't radiate out and out and out than the Blue Rose Task Force was ever able to manage. God love them, but they're fucking useless. And in the space of a week or so, Dougie Jones showed them up for the fools that they are. I'm playing devil's advocate a lot here, but Dougie Jones got an awful lot of hate. And I think in the few days that he was on this planet, in this universe, he effected more change for the better, did more to fight the good fight to counter the negative force of Judy and her acolytes than anyone else in the rest of the show ever did. A show that was always about, in the face of horrific, cosmic, existential, evil, darkness and fear, the small moments were to be savoured, not just a damn fine cup of coffee, and an excellent slice of cherry pie. But those moments of friendship, love, longing, loss, belonging, redemption. The scene where Garland Briggs tells a young Bobby Briggs the dream he had about him is one of the most emotional and affecting scenes that there has ever been on television. That was Garland's dream, his hope for the future for his son, ever the optimist. And when Wyndham Earle asked him what his greatest fear in the world was, it was that love wouldn't be enough. There wasn't enough love in the FBI, in the Blue Rose Task Force. But there was a well of love in Dougie Jones. And we saw how well it worked. What do you think? Tell me. Do you love Dougie Jones? Do you hate Dougie Jones? There's no wrong answer. Everyone has an emotional reaction to art, and even if that emotional reaction is, I don't like it, it's a pile of shit, that is just as valid. Everyone who is saying that they don't like this show, they don't like the final episode, they feel let down, that's a valid emotional reaction. Personally, I love Dougie Jones. As you can probably tell, I've just gone to bat for him for the last 10 minutes or so. But tell me, what do you think? Am I being too harsh on Cooper? Was the final episode too harsh on Cooper?